Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another podcast. This is episode 2, and I am extremely excited. I have two very special guests. Cristina has returned back to hell to discuss more issues. And today we have Pierre Barns. I'm going to let him introduce himself. In case you missed the first podcast, Cristina and I talked a lot about the school policies and surveys that are happening right now, and we explored just the direction that the school boards are heading in. One of the items that we did discuss in the first episode was school books that are in the library and that are very concerning. And I'm happy to say that Pierre has more experience than me on this topic. So I just wanted to open the floor to Pierre. Hey, Pierre, introduce yourself. A couple things about you.
Unfortunately, I have more experience regarding the books. I'm a dad of 4 kids that all go to school, and also I'm just very careful, and I keep an eyes open about what they are learning, and that's the way that I find out about the books. And so when I find out about the books that were in the school of my daughter, just to be precise, because they're not there anymore. And they went not there after 1 month. Actually, it didn't take that long. And I decided to look all across the country and see what's going on in school. And I realized that actually the school of my daughter wasn't that bad compared to other schools. So it's just, I think it was tough at a good time, but it's still a big contagion of workness across the country, and books as one of the items they use to indoctrinate our children in many ways. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off here, David. Can you tell everyone a little bit about the email that you sent to the trustees?
Oh, yeah.
The response that you got.
Yeah. I did a lot of stuff, yeah. Okay, so I did send email to school board members, actually, all across. But I didn't do all school districts because I believe there is approximately 370 school districts around the country. But I cover a lot of them and the major one. So I sent an emails to major school trustees, giving them the list of the books that are in the libraries. So and I did buy the book. So I did my own review and I sent them screenshots of the books and the link to access the libraries that are in the school. So, and I sent this to municipal school districts, including the Halton school district, which was I had a very fun reply from I don't remember her name, but that woman wanted to report me to the police because I exposed the board to sexually explicit material. But I think what she did not realize is the books and the link that I give her to the books was the links to the school. So she wanted to report me to the police, but actually she should report herself for not doing her job.
That's right. Halton School District.
When you are aware of abuse and you do nothing about this, and when you are in position of authority, you actually you are as much guilty of abuse than the abuser. So
that's right.
Because they have the teacher or mandatory reporter when it in regards to abuse, so they have to report abuse even if they just have a little doubt about it. And showing sexually explicit material to children is child abuse. So especially that type of material. I'm not talking about books when you have 2 dads that are married, and had other kids. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about very deep details of sexual intercourse, and not even normal sexual intercourse. There's lots of perversions into those books.
Well, that's the thing. It's the line. Everyone has their own definition of what normal is, and then it's like, well, the line just keeps on moving, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just crazy. So, yeah, it's sick in the head that the book that that are in the school actually. So yeah, that's the. So I continue to write emails to the school board. I did have a positive response for some school board member, and I did have meetings face to face with some of them, and with some of them it didn't go well. With some of them did good. So it's I keep it. I got the emails, and behind the scenes I got the meetings with the trustee, which I don't post a lot about it, but it's private things between me and the trustee, unless they don't go the way that I want them to go, then I expose them. Mm-hmm. But if they're good and they remove the books, I'm not messing around with them too much.
Yeah. When did you get started in all of this?
Oh gosh, I started to see that something was wrong in school 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, I started to get information and download information and save it to my server actually, because I thought that at some point that they will delete this information, but no, they didn't delete everything. Actually, they add more stuff. I realized over time that it's actually, in order for evil to succeed, it has to expose itself. In order to groom us, it has to normalize us to see this, so it can't hide what it did. So that's why they always keep pushing those things, even if most parents, and I know, are in disagreement with it. They try to make us believe that this is normal. So the only way they can do it is to constantly make public what they expose to kids. Because by making it public, we think it's normal. So they don't normalize.
They wouldn't be allowed to, right? That's a lot of people's.
Yeah, exactly. So people, because the reaction of people say, "Well, the books are there, must be normal." Because we've been groomed to think that it is normal to show sexually explicit material to children, but no, the criminal code is very clear about this. That it is not; it's illegal. So, it's a political issue, right? But the good thing is I think the tide is turning, and now it's getting. It's sad that the politic supersede the criminal code. It's just it's just ridiculous. So anyway, so now I think things are turning, and the criminal code will be well used in Canada unless they change it. But even if they change it, man, there is no piece of paper that's gonna tell me that it is okay to show sexually explicit material to children, or to abuse children, or to cut the breasts of little girls, or to give them puberty blockers, and there's no piece of paper. They can make whatever policy they want. This is a moral issue.
Did the other parents know about it? What did you find when you went looking? How did other people did people know about this?
Yeah. At first start, people think of people like me who expose this stuff. They think that we are religious fanatic, right? That it's all against homosexualities and lesbians, and that the books that we're talking about are about gay marriage and all this stuff, so which is it's nothing to do with this actually. So they don't realize what it is. They are aware that there is books, but they think it's only my belief, that I try to push my beliefs into them.
That's not really a problem.
Yeah. So, but when I show them the pictures of the books, everything's changed. Now they go, holy my gosh, this is what you're talking about. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about it. So yeah, I'm talking about real sexually explicit materials.
And we talked about that in the last podcast, David, with the 10th project, right? It's the exact same reaction. People are told they've got that cognitive dissonance of, if it's in the school boards, it's fine. Like clearly, obviously it's okay. You're making a big deal about this. You're trying to push your own values on here. And then as soon as they see it, they're like, what the heck is happening right now?
Mm-hmm. Just for the viewers and the listeners at home, the 10th project was a project that pretty much put out a tent outside, and there were books inside and images from the books that people who walk by can go into the tent and have a look at the books. and see for themselves. Now, the first time I became aware of this was at the beginning of 2022, when a teacher talked about it in a school board and she got kicked out. And then I started looking more into it. And then I met Cristina, and she had a display with books and with images. And I looked at it and I died inside a little bit when I saw that. And I couldn't believe these things are in school. So the 10 Project was a hands-on kind of approach that Cristina made. And I can tell you from experience, speaking with parents, they didn't really know what's inside of the library books at school. And they just thought it was, just some different loving kind of different love books, love is love kind of deal. And when I sent them some images, or when I showed them images from my phone, something snapped in their mind and they're like, wait, this is what's in our schools? And I'm like, yep, this is what the school boards deemed appropriate for our children. So a lot of the parents that I've spoken to had no idea, and a lot of them continue not to have an idea. But I know that you've been dealing with this for a long time, Pierre. 4 years is a lot longer than I've been dealing with. And I can tell you that having been in a year in on this, it's kind of ridiculous that these books are still in the libraries. And as a matter of fact, I'm finding a lot of justifications to keep the books there. And I'm hearing things like these books are helping kids, in fact. These books are empowering. These books are saving lives. These books are helping kids relate to past traumas. And these books are helping kids find themselves and get a sense of identity and whatnot. Did you hear those justifications on your end?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that they're helping the kids. And I told them, so the solutions to the teacher that say that to the school members is in order to prevent, because some of them told us that this is to prevent sexual abuse. So the mind of those who are saying that is, well, in order to prevent sexual abuse, we're going to abuse a child. So it's ridiculous what they say when they say that, well, in order to prevent this, we're going to expose children to it. It's like, no, you don't expose children to sexually explicit material to prevent sexual abuse. That doesn't make any sense. There's no sense to it. So but those people, they're good at it, right? They play with the emotions, right? I heard lots of stuff like that, it's just, my kids are fine. They didn't get mutilated by the state, right? But, they're going to come, well, nothing happened to your kids. Yeah, sure. Nothing happened to my kids, right? Yeah, of course. Nothing happened to my kids. But, it could happen. I'm not protected. I'm a Canadian. So if one of my kids decide to go in that direction, I'm done as anyone is done in Canada, because my own children can consent to whatever ideology they decide to believe, especially that ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I got that argument, but the worst argument actually is the one that they do this to prevent sexual abuse, and that it helped those who had lived sexual abuse. So those who.
It's completely backwards.
Nothing makes sense. There's nothing worse for some, especially for kids who is not in control of his emotions, to see or to read something about about sexual abuse and saying that this is okay. This is the normalizations of sexual abuse to children. So now the kids think that, oh, my teacher thinks that those books or make sense, or maybe I'm not abused. Maybe the person who did this to me just love me. Just attracted to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big woman. The fact that the teacher are keeping those books there, okay, without doing nothing. It's grooming by definition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just it's yeah. Well, yeah. I went
So
to
my daughter brought a book home. Now, it wasn't as explicit. It was a little bit more mild, but she was in grade 1 when she brought this book home from the library. And the book was Jazz. It was about, I think you know that book.
Yeah.
And I remember taking it out because we always read books. And I took it out and I had a look at it. I took some pictures and I sent it to my siblings. And I was like, check this out. This was the first time I've ever seen anything like that. This was a few years ago. But I didn't really think much of it. I was like, this is kind of weird. Yeah, we're not reading this book. Anyway, she took it back to school after. But I remember, I go to the library often with my kids. And when I go to the library, the books are all in their cubbies, and there are books that are basically up on display. I don't know if your libraries have that, but anyways, they turn the books around so you could see the cover, and those are the books that kind of get picked up more and scanned out. So what I've noticed while I was at the public libraries is a lot of these books that are up to grab on the display have gender ideology on them. And I was just grabbing these books just to kind of see, because I love reading to my kids. And I've noticed that most of them that were up for display were some kind of ideology. And I was thinking, if this is what's happening in the public library, what is happening in the schools? Because when I did a school tour this year, this was the first time that I've done, I had a look through the library as well. And it was kind of the same thing that I saw. Now, I didn't really spend too much time in the library, but just the overall theme, you got like the rainbows everywhere and celebrations and stuff. And the trustees as well, they just downplay. One of the trustees went on a radio station, did an interview, and she downplayed these books, like, oh, it's not a big deal. There aren't too many copies. And in my mind, I'm thinking, let's say 5% of the books have gender ideology. I bet you pretty much all those books are going to be on display and easy to grab, right? Like, even if there aren't that many books, they will be very accessible. And I'm seeing the director of our Waterloo District School Board, after the teacher brought these books up during a delegation, the two books that she was talking about, which was Rick and the Other Boy, and she got shut down. I've noticed an Instagram post on the school board's social media, and the director was talking about, I don't know what he was talking about, but he had those two books right beside him. So it seems to me like these people are definitely promoting the books. They're definitely promoting the content, and the content in these books are specifically hormone therapy and puberty blockers. And they just talk about these things like they're normal, no big deal, try it out. And I think this is not a good direction that they're heading in.
The story you're talking about, that was Scott Podolsky, I believe. The day after he canceled, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Caroline,
Caroline, sorry, Caroline, the day he canceled Caroline, one of his directors, actually, the day after that, he posted some things about the book, Rick, saying that book is amazing. I actually got a screenshot of that.
Who was that, Pierre?
Huh?
Who was that posted that?
I think it was, I don't remember his name. It's Brian or Ryan. He's a principal in one of the schools, and
in BC.
I'm gonna find his name. I posted something about it before, so I got all the data saved. So the day after, and I actually replied to the guys. So the day after Scott canceled Caroline, they team up together, Scott and him, and the other guy just sent something about the book, Rick, saying that book is good, you know. So that was just completely evil, actually, to do this, because this book, and the other boy, my daughter, came back home with that book. Yeah. She came back home with that book at the other boy. And
how old is she?
She's at that time she was 10 years old. Yeah. So that was the end of the book at the school of my daughters.
Yeah. So these are my biggest concern. Like, these kids are all minors, you know, and I'm seeing that there's they preach tolerance, and the only thing I'm seeing here is a tolerance for bad behavior on the part of the board, you know, and quite ironically, an intolerance to corrective behavior, you know, and
accountability.
Yeah. And I'm seeing, you know, this like diversity, inclusion, equity. I'm seeing like they are including children in this sexuality normalization, right? They think it's great to have a, you know, diversity, adults and kids. And I've seen like all kinds of books, you know, where they're promoting this, you know, equitable. And my understanding from equity, you know, I ride bikes pretty competitively, and equal outcome would be if I'm training hard on my bike and somebody else is not training as hard, you know, one of two things can happen. Either I'm biking with my brakes on, so we can both finish at the same time, that way I'm slowing down, or he's getting a boost on his bike, riding a motorcycle, so he can keep up. That way we're both finishing. And having that said, I think the same way equitable, like you see these children, they're all underage, and the way that they want to make it equitable is they just pretend like they're adults and that they can consent, right? Just bump them up and treat them like adults when in fact they are not adults, and they need to be protected from this.
Yeah.
So I really think, you know, there is a huge inversion, and these vices are, from my understanding, it's almost like they're virtues, you know, like we're protecting kids with these books. These books are saving lives. And it's just anybody that has kids knows. And I'm hearing a lot of the younger trustees who have no kids, you know, we need to educate parents and stuff. And I'm just thinking like, hold up. Enough with the education and re-education. This stuff it's just poor behavior, and it's got to change.
Yeah, you know, I always say that compassion without morality is a weakness, not a virtue to be cultivated. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Is people think that compassion is all good. We need to have compassion for everyone. I don't have any compassion for pedophiles. I don't care for them. You know, they can finish the rest of their life in jail without food. Seriously, I won't even care. You know what I mean? So maybe I go to the extreme. But you know what I mean in regards to the food.
So I was just going to say, I think that like people, I mean, you and I and David know where you're coming from, but someone, maybe a viewer who's watching this, I mean, once we start talking about pedophiles, then, oh, this is far right. This is, you know, fear mongering. You know, there is the space of those individuals who are just trying to do good. There's the space of the people in the schools that really believe that this is for the greater good of children. And so Pierre, you're probably beyond that. You're like, no, I think everyone is doing this. Is that what you're saying? Like, do you think that?
My point is, I'm not saying that they all bad. I'm saying that, you know, I went to the extreme with I wanted to explain that compassion without morality is not a virtue to be cultivated. So I took the examples of the pedophile. I mean, I have no compassion for pedophile. I'm not comparing teacher to pedophile. That's not the point. I'm saying that that we cannot have compassion for not everything deserve compassion.
Not everything is shameless. Not everything is shameless, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're to the point. I don't know if people understand, but we're to the point where people can actually identify as a pedophile. Like they can identify as someone who is sexually attracted to kids. And that's their right. Like, that's okay. As if like, we don't need to feel shame about that anymore, because some people feel that, and therefore it's normalized, and therefore you don't need to feel badly, and you need to be able to accept it. And it's like with everything else that's happening right now.
Yeah, it's just.
So what you're referring to, the term that they use is minor attracting persons.
That's right. Yeah.
So they're trying to basically make this behavior more acceptable, and the justification around it is, like, I was born this way and I really love kids and I want to empower them as well. Like, once again, we're getting to this abuse is looked as a form of empowerment. And I do believe a predator does feel empowered over a victim, because there's a huge power dynamic between adults and minors. And I don't know how prevalent this stuff is right now, but I do know that we are on a slippery slope. We're heading fast into this direction where love is love and consent is something that even a child could give. I've seen this stuff in schools, where they're trying to allow children, for example, to make their own decisions regarding the vaccines. They'll have a vaccine clinic, or regarding their gender. You don't need the consent of the parent. As a matter of fact, they'll even hide that information from the parents. We have it in the school policies as well. So I think we are moving in this direction with the minor attracting people becoming more normalized. And I don't care what phobia they come up with. I don't care what justification and whatever they try to bring in. It doesn't even matter to me. Like, I already know exactly where I stand on this issue. And yeah.
And people can tell me they can tell me I'm on the extreme right or whatever. But if I don't care, I don't care if people tell me I'm an extremist from the right, because I know I'm not. I'm not Hitler. I don't have this kind of minding. I'm pretty open actually to discussions with people. So, and I'm open to discussions with gay and lesbians and even transgenders. I'm open to.
You're very approachable.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not, so we can't stop the conversation just because people are going to tell us we transphobic or right wings,
we're challenging it.
So it's just, and to go back to the thing, we are celebrating sin. That's the point. Before, sin is a sin. We were able to differentiate the sins from the sinner. That's it. Okay. But now the problem is we are celebrating sin. It's not just like, because I believe we're all sinners anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So if we all start to celebrate everything we do bad, oh my gosh, in which directions are we going to head? You know what I mean? So it's the celebrations of this. It's very weird.
Isn't that a big part of the agenda? Is that instead of viewing us as we all sin, why don't we just get rid of that? Like, no one wants to feel crappy. How about we just do what feels good all the time, right? And there's no shame. Everyone just does their own thing.
I think the greatest tragedy right now is to feel shame and guilt. Like, if you feel shame and guilt, you gotta stop feeling those emotions, and I would say the lifestyle is quite hedonistic. Like, you're always looking for pleasure. You're always looking to satisfy, and even at the expense of other people. Like, you're not taking into consideration other people when kids, for example, when you're exposing them, if you're taking advantage of them, that they will grow up and this will have an impact on them. God knows what's going to happen 10, 15, 30 years from now. Some people can never break free of this trauma. And some people, people who have been abused go on to abuse other people as well, unfortunately. If you cannot break free.
I will argue with that. I will say that they have been, this is the things that people who have been abused abuse other people. I would argue with that. I think this is actually a forms of this has been, because I don't think the research actually proved this. This is a forms of manipulations that they have put in our head to silence victims, because victims don't want to talk anymore because they are scared to be seen as someone who has more potentials to abuse somebody else. So I think those people who have been truly abused, and when they realize that they have been abused too, because there is a grooming. When you groom, sometimes you don't realize you've been abused. Maybe some of them will do things not knowing that what they do is bad. In some few cases, I would say.
Yes.
When they are young, or when they realize, oh my gosh, everything that happened to me is wrong. I have been abused. I've been used to believe that. They will go towards protecting children instead than abusing children actually. And I really believe that this is a form of because most of the predators actually that most of the pedophiles that finish in jail, they are going to use this to have sympathy from people.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to say, I've been abused when I was young. But never forget that there's no one that is more psychopathic and liar than a pedophile. Okay, so they will use they will lie. That's it. So when they say that, they've been abused, usually there is no proof that they have been abused. Actually,
almost
they
like
just use it to have a form of compassion from people. They're very good manipulators.
And I wonder too if we follow along with that, because we don't want to believe that it just happens, that it's because of something else. It's almost like it's almost like we try to label these people as like monsters, like so that we can detach as a human being from it. And I think it's a coping mechanism for us sometimes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. John Huller, he's got a nice series about and he worked with sexual offenders and predators and survivors. So he's got a nice series about this actually.
Who's this?
John Huller.
Okay.
I can send you the link.
Yeah, send me the link.
Yeah, he's very good actually. He's very well. He's from the US. I know him actually. So So anyway, that was my point about that, because I always had the discussions a few times with people that say, well, they've been abused, therefore they will abuse. No, it's not the case.
Well, yeah, let me I completely agree. There's absolutely no justification. At the end of the day, the person who's doing the abuse did that on their own. There was nobody there forcing them to do it, and they went out of their way. I do know a lot of people, not a lot of people. I do know some people who have gone through traumatic experiences. In order to cope with them, they will try to romanticize the experience. And they'll say, oh, if only I would like it, because they can't stand what has been done to them. And it's a weird psychological coping mechanism that people try to really romanticize and to use it as a form of empowerment, because they've been so disempowered by somebody. I've talked to several people about this as well. People who were, let's just say, different sexually, and they had different desires, and pretty much all of them had some sort of relationship that went sour, or somebody did something to them, and it's almost like they couldn't fix part of them, and in order to move forward, they had to kind of romanticize it in their head, and so it wasn't that bad, so you can just get over it, right? And I think getting over experiences, I've had some traumatic experience in my life, and I've had these thoughts that I could never get over. I thought I would never get out of it. It was rumination, and it was keeping me up at night, and I would have flashbacks. But I was convinced that I need to change the way that I think to get different results. And I couldn't believe it in the moment that I can get different results, but I knew that it was possible. And I had to just make the steps to correct my behavior and to have a disciplined lifestyle. So that's why I say some people who abuse go on abusing others, because in their mind, for them to cope with their own hurt and with their own abuse, they will start to romanticize it and say, well, this is what the other person was kind of into, maybe it was my fault, etc. I mean, the length of justifications, it doesn't mean that their behavior is correct. It's actually wrong. And they justify themselves into wrong behavior.
Yeah, I would say that those who has been abused will may have different lifestyles sexually. They will it will, I don't know how to explain that really, but that I don't believe they will relate someone. I don't think they will go into abusing someone. They will do behavior that will affect them, that will hurt them to repeat that fantasy. So they will go to weird sexual lifestyle instead, then they would have like hundreds of sexual partners, weird sexual experience, to replicate to that hurt and that fantasy. But that don't, in general, I will say that they will not abuse others. They will abuse themselves again. They will put themselves in the positions when they are hurt. Actually, they will self-mutilate them in a way. There's a word for that.
I completely agree. Yes,
self-hurt kind of, self-sabotage kind of. Yeah. So that's the. And just one thing too, I just want to precise this too, is because I said before about we have to differentiate the sins and the sinners, and the compassion and all this stuff. And but I want to make it clear that I those who abuse children, I don't even consider them sinner. I don't put them in the categories of sinner. I put them in the category of evils. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't. Because when I say we all sinners, we're not all sinners in the levels of a pedophiles. You know what I mean? We're not all, so I just want to clarify that. Pedophiles are evil. So it's very different to me. It's very important to differentiate, because if someone can use it, we all sinners, so let's have compassion for that. No way. I don't think there is no old book. I don't think the Bible's mentioned one time that we have to have compassion for, for those who hurt the children.
Yeah.
Any old books, I don't know, the Torah or the Quran, I don't think.
Are you still following a lot about like what's going on in the schools in terms of the books right now? Because I know for me, that was something that, right in the beginning of, I don't know, I was just before the campaign where that started to blow up a little bit, but and more with the more questions as well that were coming out. But are you still following that at all? Like, are you working on that right now?
Oh yeah, but yeah, I have requests from parents or for trustees, or that they want me to look at these schools and give them the list of books. So when I give the list of books to the people that requested, usually I send an email to the school board. So I try to send at least probably one emails a week to a school board.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, but
Are you finding that the numbers dropping with the books? Like, is it coming down?
The number of
The
books?
number of books.
Oh, no, they are arrogant. They buy more books.
I just saw a new bunch of books that came in.
Oh, yeah, because no, they just want, it's like the drag queen things, right? So now we start to protest against the drag queen stories, and now they just make more stories. Like, those people.
Yeah.
But I believe it's almost done, maybe not almost done, but I think we are winning. But because they control the mainstream media and they control what everybody looks, people think that the thing is that people think that there is a majority of people who think that we should show sexually explicit material to children, or that the majorities of people are okay with drag queen stories, but it's not the case. Most of the people I talk to, they disagree with all this stuff.
So, that's what we were saying last time.
Yeah, it's because they control the mainstream media and the politicians. The politicians, they corrupt to the core. The parliament is corrupt. We got 338 MPs. I don't even know if there is 5 good MPs in these things. You know what I mean? They vote for the bill C6, and that completely go in favors of mutilating children. It's just, we live in Nazi Germany, actually. The liberals, they are in that.
Yeah, we've covered the bill as well. So I just want to bring this back to the books, how it all ties together. So we have these books in the school, and I just want to summarize these books. They're getting approved by the school board, and from what I've seen, just to let the viewers and the listeners know, that these books are coming up from the ministry itself, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education. These books are they also approved at that level, or is the school board approving these books?
The school board is responsible since, I'm talking about BC. There is different law within different province, but wait a minute, I got something. It is the responsibility of the school board, actually, to review the curriculum material and the books. But the book is a tricky one because there is a catch-22 with the books. That's mean that there is no policy really for the books, because there is policy, for what I know, there is policy for learning resource. Okay, but then
is it the teacher that's responsible for that?
The learning resource is within the policies of the school board. So sometimes you go into complaints about the books, and then they're gonna tell you, well, the books is not a learning resource.
So we have the books, they're being brought in, and the schools are the ones that are approving the books. The behavior that is getting normalized, just to summarize, the behavior that these books are normalizing is hormone therapy, puberty blockers, we're bringing the drag queens as well, alternate lifestyles, sexual behavior. This is what's being normalized, all leading down a slippery slope to the MAPS minor attracting people, which is what we've discussed. So do you think, from your opinion, do you think that the schools have gone too far with this?
With the book?
The school boards in general.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, the school board, I think. But the school board are going to face the law very soon. And they're going to realize that, they're going to pay the price of what they did. That's
so
for sure.
During the delegation that Carolyn was kicked out, what they actually cited was the Ontario Human Rights Commission. Now, I had a look at the Ontario Human Rights Commission, and I was very surprised. We discussed this in episode 1, that the commission is actually pushing for children to learn this material as early as possible. As a matter of fact, their biggest regret is the fact that children cannot be young enough and that parents are basically in the way of them learning about this. Again, it's like this whole, I feel this whole corruption right from the top down, right? Where the policies and the procedures of the school, they're all being sustained by the board. The board is being sustained by the organizations and by the government, and the funding and all of this. So everything is connected, and I'm seeing that this behavior, it starts right from the top. I mean, we had our prime minister go on a TV show with the drag queens. So, I mean, if he does it, I think the school are like, well, this is acceptable behavior. Yeah. As a parent, what do you recommend to parents? What action can parents take?
Yeah, I just want to sorry, I'm going to respond to that, but those who are the most responsible of what happened right now to our children are the school board members, the trustees, because they are the one who have the power to remove the book. Those who can remove the book right now are trustees. They can do it. So they are the most responsible. I just want to make it clear. Even whatever what Trudeau says, it doesn't matter. With the policy is written, so those people have the power to remove the book. And so just want to make it clear. What parent can do? Hold accountable those trustees. Make them uncomfortable. Go there, tell them exactly what you think. The way. Just do it. If you're someone who is unpolitically correct, say it unpolitically correctly. If you're someone polite, say it politely. If you go to write letters, send them a letters. Just be who you are, right? Just tell them what you think. About this thing. Just go there. Just do something. Do what you can do. If you disagree with it and you're not good at speaking, write an email. Talk to your friends about it. So because not everyone has. It's not about courage. Sometimes it's just about have the skill. It's not everyone have the skill to go there and speak to those people. But
at minimum, yes. Just tell other people. Tell other people and tell them to tell other people, right?
Yeah, because if we do nothing, what else? If we let this happen, in our country, what else? You know what I mean? So and then we are normalizing pedophilia. Okay, give 10 years from now, where are we going to be? Right? Is that the world we want? I don't think so. So is that the life that we're going to give to our children? I have 4 children. I don't want them to finish in the walls when kids. It's normal to abuse children. I mean, so it's just for me. It's clear. It's just, and this is the directions we are heading. Okay, we got the TV. I went to. I think it was Walmart, and is that what? I went to Walmart and I saw something on display. They are no normal couple. They were all like gay couple, lesbian couple. There was no straight couples. I'm not saying that what happened in the school is because again lesbian. I'm saying that they try to everything is about that.
It's disproportionate, right? Like you're seeing it on everything. Yeah. Disney movies. Like we're talking about representation.
Yeah.
But it needs to be represented in a way that actually presents in society. Like it can't be every single couple now, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. It has never, Yeah,
it's becoming more desirable too. Like it's promoted as it's desirable to not be heterosexual. It's gone.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. No, you. Yeah, exactly. So
you're not special if you're heterosexual. You're boring and a bigot.
Yeah. The danger to it is you got the big propagandas about all the transgenders, and and everywhere, right? And then you got the kids that see it all the times, and then you got policies like the infant hack in BC, right, when the children can agree with those ideologies and get mutilated by the state without parent consent. So it's just, you see, everything is twisted. So they are going to turn into that direction of getting mutilated, and it's hard. I got over, I think I got over 3,000 pictures of people with that had double mastectomy in Canada. 2 clinics. Okay, since 2000, I believe 2015 or 13. But, so it's crazy. When people when people say that, it just happened, it doesn't. It just happened to a few people. No, not really. Those clinics are busy. You know what I mean? If you want to have an appointment there, you're gonna wait 1 year because they have so many people on the list.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to speed it up. So there's a school census that was done, and 0.8% of the students between grade 4 to 12 self-identified as trans. So you have 0.8%, that's less than 1% of the students, with 100% indoctrination saying that this is a good thing. And the other thing that I'm very confused, with the trans movement and stuff, is that the erasure of men and women, because you can be anything. And I'm just wondering if, one of the questions is, if we can't define what a woman is, if it's just whatever you feel, how can you fight for women's rights? And this is a very difficult question to answer if you live in a world that is detached from reality, a world filled with ideology and where you can be anything. And unfortunately, reality is going to come back, and it's going to come back in a very harsh way, because if you do go along and if you do go through with the surgeries and the hormones and all these things, those will last a lifetime. The physical and mental ramifications are permanent. In most cases, I don't really know, obviously, what the science is. If you've been on these drugs for years, and self-sterilization, like you're sterilizing kids from an early age, you're robbing them of a family later on. And I'm finding this movement is very powerful, and I think it's very insidious. Once you look into it and you kind of see what is, like you said, what is being celebrated, it's not just information. Like if we had books in the school, we have books about like the war and all these things. Nobody's celebrating this. Nobody's celebrating the war. Nobody's celebrating killing other people. This is information. I find the difference with this is that we are celebrating. We are pushing it. These books are on display, easy to grab books. I encourage anybody that is listening or viewing this podcast, go visit the library and see for yourself. Maybe there aren't as many books or as they lead you to believe, but you can bet that they are easily accessible. All these books, whether it's critical race theory or gender ideology, for this podcast where we are focusing on gender ideology, this mentality is getting pushed.
So I went to one library in Richmond, actually, with one of my friends who is Muslim. And I went there, and we were able to remove 2 books from the libraries. So we went there, and we saw, because we wanted to, that's a long story, but so we saw 2 books, and we bring the books, and we gave we shown the books to the librarians. And they actually remove the books, and now they're making reviews of the books. So if you go to a library and you see a book, and you want to file a complaint about the books, they have to remove the books right away.
Mm-hmm.
There's no options. They remove the books because there is a complaint about the books, and they
That's
have to
public library you're referring to.
Oh, so that public library, yeah. So that they have to go to the review process, and when they're done with the review process, they go. They're gonna update us very soon, actually. So it is. Yeah. So if you confront them, it's not even a confrontation. The person that we were talking to, she had the pronouns and a rainbow flags on her, and she was very talkable. She told us, I think those books should be there. Then we showed her the image, and we had a nice discussion. She was actually very sweet. Mm-hmm. Even if she was full towards this ideology, but still, she removed the book. Because we talked about it. We had a nice discussion, actually, with her. So very respectful. She was very respectful, too. That's the thing, right? You got what you deserve. Yeah. So, that she was very good, actually.
I do believe, even from my experience, talking to people, for the most part, I can't say I've had any real bad interactions. For the most part, people are respectful and they are curious to know the opposite side. And I think they're a little bit surprised. Maybe both sides are surprised a little bit that they can be respectful towards each other. Now, like I said, my biggest thing in all of this is that really we're talking about minors here, minors that are being exposed to this. And this is where I draw the line, and the kids, they're grade 4, you're talking like 8 or 9 years old and up. And that's a really young age. It's a really impressionable age. Pierre, going forward, there could be maybe 3 things that can happen. We can either continue to go down the slippery slope. We can maybe stop this where it's at, or things will continue to correct themselves. If you were on this train on board with the school board, is this train going full forward? Is the train putting the brakes on, or is the train coming back to reality? What would you say?
If I was, I would put the brakes on right away, man.
Well, you would put. Do you find that the train has the brakes on, or do you think that they're just going forward?
No, they just have to reverse. Yeah, I understand. I understand what you mean. Yeah, okay. Now, there is no gray areas. Okay, there is no gray areas with this thing. It's black and white. For me, it's just showing sexually explicit material to children, vasectomy to little girls, to minors, puberty blockers, testosterone to minors, estrogen. There is no gray area to me. This is black and white. And until it's removed completely, we have to fight. It's clear. There's no, those who think there is a gray area with that are nuts. There's no gray areas. With mutilating children. A gray area for that? Just the gray, thinking about the gray area by itself, it's evil.
For sure. One of the things that I'm happy is happening is that a lot of more people are starting to have this conversation. And I think you mentioned this right at the beginning of the video. This thing is coming to light. A lot more people are starting to talk about it. A lot more people are becoming aware thanks to the work that you've done, the work that Cristina has done over here. I found out about it. Ironically, every time they try to stop somebody, it seems to me like it gives them a platform. Like it was one of those things, like I was just going on with my day, and then I see this video was censored and removed, and I was like, I wonder what that's all about. Then I saw the video and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Do you have any resources for parents that can have a look for themselves to see the type of books, the content in the books? Do you have anything like that?
Actually, I have a website. It's exposingsoji123.com.
Okay.
So, and I got all my book review there. But I did another website too, just very simple website. It's unmaskcult.com, and that one is just faster. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's where because I don't know to. Try to find a good word, my gosh, wait a minute. I'm not going to go to the details. So I got a very simple website, and the one that I got 2 websites: exposingsoji123.com and on Mass Cult. And there is you can find. I think there is the Soji Task Force too. The website of those people. There's very good information there. You can find good information on actions for Canada side. There's so many the gender D's, I think, too. I think it's Kerry something that take care of that website. I'm not quite sure about. There is many. I can give you a list of many websites. I got two that are mine, and then there's this other people that got very nice information about this stuff. So.
Well,
but
to all,
the things with my website is, it's you want the book, you have the book. And it's very simple. It's you click on it, you got the books, you can read the book. You can read. It says that if people wants to find the books, go there. It's all there, and I can send them the PDF of the book too. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's just. And I buy the book myself, just so you know. It's not. I didn't take the review from another site. I buy the book, and I made my own reviews.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that I got the proper information before I went after all those big people.
Yeah. So I will link both of these websites, and the other. If there's any other website that you've mentioned as well that you want me to link, these links will be available in the description for all the users, for all the viewers and the listeners, if they would like to see for themselves what is in the schools. I can tell you, I did know about one of the websites, and purposely I've taken a few weeks not to click on the link, even though I knew what I was about to see. It's still very difficult. However, I must say, if this is available to the children, like I had to see what's in there. And I think the first step that parents can do, to all the parents listening, just go look for yourself, have a look, make up your own mind. Don't wait for anybody to tell you what to think. Don't wait for the school to give you any responses. Have a look, and from there you can decide. And I know what you're going to be thinking once you have a look. That's why I encourage you to look. Pierre, I just wanted to thank you as well for all the hard work that you've been doing. And it's really is because of people like yourself. I don't know, Cristina, did you know about Pierre? I don't know how much influence that had on you as well.
Yeah, I would be messaging Pierre. Do you have a link for the books? Send it right away, because we would have somebody in front of us, and if I didn't have it, or if he had something, I knew he updated the website at one point, and he's been instrumental for sure. It's been a great support.
So I just wanted to thank you once again for taking part and sharing your story as well as a dad. We are all parents over here. I have 2 girls. Cristina has 2 boys. And we feel pretty much the same as you. We see the direction that the school board is heading in. I think all of the parents, they see it, even the ones that are just starting to see what's going on. It's very hard to not acknowledge that we are indeed on the slippery slope. We are normalizing this behavior. I think the kids are the ones that are going to be hurting the most. And if we let this behavior become normalized, think of how far we've digressed in the past 4 or 5 years. Where are we going to be in another 5-10 years if this kind of behavior is allowed to continue? Pierre, if you have any more information or any last thoughts that you want to share.
Yeah, I just want to talk about something to add. I got over 2,000 cases of teacher misconduct related to sexual abuse that I got on my website. And I got the link directly to the governmental site where you can find those cases. Those are public cases. So I find over 2,000 cases, just so you know, it's a big numbers. Just in Alberta, British Columbia, and Ontario. 2,000 cases of teacher misconduct related to sexual abuse. So sexual abuse happen in school. This is not a myth. And it's happened a lot. Not just a little bit. So
can I just add something to that for viewers? Because when we mention something like that, I know that the response is vilifying teachers, as if we're vilifying all the teachers. And let's be clear, we're not vilifying all the teachers when we say something like that. Those are the facts. They're the stats. And you need to be able to receive that information. And anyone who stands up and says, like, they negate it, like they just completely disregard the information as if we are trying to use it to vilify teachers. It's like, I still believe there are a tremendous amount of wonderful teachers doing their job. Why are you standing up for the teachers who are doing this to our kids? Because if you are, you're going to be next on my list to check out. Like, I just don't understand how people can be doing that. Can they not simultaneously exist? Cannot good teachers doing good in our schools simultaneously exist with these ones that need to have accountability?
I absolutely believe not only do they exist, but I do believe it's a majority of the teachers. I think a lot of the teachers are getting silenced. I think there's policies in place to silence them. I think there are punishments for behavior, behavior that, for example, teachers cannot tell a parent the gender of the child if it's different from school. You know, we're seeing a lot of teachers canceled as well. And I think teachers are being put in a very difficult position. I think most of the teachers get into this job because they love working with kids. They want to help children. And when they get in it, and there's this, how can I say, the reputation of the school board and the teachers has gone downhill considerably. And unfortunately, everybody involved, there is no more trust, and people are quick to jump to conclusions now. I do believe, from my experience speaking to teachers, and from what I've seen, a lot of teachers are feeling frustrated as well, because a few bad teachers will spoil it for the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in a way, that's a good thing that they are getting frustrated, because maybe they're going to start to do something about it. You know, so it had to happen, and it's just things happen. The same thing with the church before, right? The thing is not that all teachers are a bit far from that. There is a lot of good teachers, as you all said, but the thing is, offenders, deviant, they want that kind of jobs.
That's
and
right.
now with all the books they have and all the grooming materials and the ideology that they are pushing in school, it's an even for pedophiles. Schools are becoming that. The same thing that church was before. You know, until people were getting upset, is, oh, wait a minute, it's affecting our reputations as a priest or pastors. We're going to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And things were starting to change in church before. Mm-hmm. Now it's happening in school. Yeah, so that's a good thing that they get pissed off, because they have to do something about it.
It's become a safe space for bad behavior. And you've mentioned the Halton School District with that teacher who was wearing the large prosthetic breasts, and the school board and the administration ended up defending the teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, when they think about safe spaces, like I was always wondering, like, where do these people exist? Because to be honest, when I go and I talk to people on the street or whatever, just normal people, right? For the most part, normal people are pretty normal. And I was wondering, like, these people who have these views and who think this kind of behavior, they must exist somewhere. And because somebody's encouraging this behavior. And once I got started more looking into the education, I found that a lot of them take refuge in the education system, which maybe I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was like, oh, I see. This is where they like to hang out. And yeah, like I said, unfortunately, there aren't many of them, but they do ruin it for everybody. And I don't know how many is many, because even like I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is the criteria to become a teacher now seems to be in lines with what in line with the personalities of an offenders. So the thing is, if you're a good person, you're not allowed to teach. If you are ideologically driven towards gender ideologies or sexual deviance, well, now you're allowed to teach. You're a perfect candidate. So now the thing is that they're removing the good one, but they're adding the bad one because the criteria to become a teacher, you have to be pretty damn well right now. So you know what I mean. So it's just there will be more deviant if we consider like that than good teachers. All the good teachers are going to go away.
That's right.
There's other teachers actually that go away because I know a couple of teachers that they went away not because they work on self.
So many.
Because they said, I can't deal with this. I can't. So they just went away, and someone's bad is going to replace them. So it's not. They're not all going to be sexual deviant, but they're going to be Marxists or ideologically driven peoples who don't really care to align with pedophiles to put the ideology. And that's the big problem with Marxists is that they will align with anyone to push the ideology, even pedophile. And trust me, the pedo of this world, they are taking advantage of this.
100%. Yeah.
I'm always saying that what's going on now, it's a pedo-Marxist agenda. It's even worse than Marxist is than what happened in other countries 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So if we let this happen, that's going to be hell on earth for our children. It's not just Marxists, it'll be run by pedophiles. So I truly believe that's what's going on now. It's very well.
I've seen an interview where this one guy was talking to a pedophile and just kind of getting his thoughts. And one of the things that I found interesting about it, although maybe it shouldn't have been surprising, is that the pedophile was talking about his relationship to children as something magical, something beautiful, something innocent, something empowering. It's almost like he thought, for sure, he thought there was a connection there that maybe other people couldn't understand, and like he was helping. And what I realized is all this talk with it, this guy is really romanticizing this idea. And a lot of this romanticization, I'm drawing parallels to a lot of what I'm seeing as well. And when you have to reach into this pedophilia thing to draw parallels to what's happening in the real world, you're in trouble. When you're looking, you're like, wait, the kind of language that these guys are using and how they're romanticizing kids and whatnot and empowering them, I'm seeing this as kind of mainstream. I'm thinking something's wrong here. And it's sad that you got to kind of reach into these situations and to pull something that's relevant and to draw parallels and saying like, yeah, something's happening.
The technique they use in school is the same thing that a groomer is going to use to groom, as a pedophile is going to use to groom children.
Well, just to sum it up from what I see in a nutshell, I'm seeing the number one abuse thing is always it's our secret, right? Don't tell anybody. I'm seeing a lot of that in schools, right? Removal of consent, right? Saying like, it's okay, you can consent. I'm seeing a lot of that in schools. A lot of material. I'm referring to the books and the ideology. I'm seeing a lot of that in school, a lot of sexualization. I'm seeing normalization of puberty blockers and hormones, which of course is self-abuse as well. I'm seeing a lot of that in schools. I'm seeing a lot of this behavior, you can be whatever you want kind of thing. You can love who you want. Love is love. I'm seeing a lot of that in schools. And all of this stuff that I'm seeing in schools, if I can combine it all, I think the perfect word for this is grooming, right? We are literally empowering children to, well, I would say dispowering children, and and changing the talk, normalizing the talk. And I do believe that we've crossed the line with this. I do believe we are in the realm of grooming children. And the good thing about it is that it's all happening on full display and people can see for themselves. The bad thing is that what's happening right now is in fact pretty bad. And what people are seeing is quite unacceptable, but it's still happening. So yeah, hopefully
David,
things
do we have
turn
time
around.
for one more question? Do we have time to ask Pierre one more question?
Yeah, let's wrap it up with one more question.
Because because you spent so much time and put so much effort and work into these book reviews. Yeah. And I guess, sometimes we share them and then someone has an excuse about it. And I wondered if you could just with a couple minutes to just maybe tell us a little bit about the worth in these book reviews of you doing them and the value in them. For instance, maybe something for an example is, people would say that it's disproportionate. The things you've highlighted is disproportionate to the overall context of the book. It's just one part in so maybe speak to that or anything else that you think would be helpful for viewers that may be a little bit more new to this and are just starting to maybe look into these things when they're assessing the credibility behind a book review and who did it and all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. The books are, what I'm showing is not disproportionate to what is in the book. It is like Rick. Rick is about a transgender boy, right? Okay. Anyway, George is the same, George, Melissa. So the entire book is about that. So the entire book is about gender ideologies, puberty blockers, going to surgery, social transitions, and all this stuff. The books, the hate you give have the F word 100 times in the books. The D words, I'm not gonna say the words here, but unless I don't think it's necessary. But I said the D word 30 times. It's everywhere. It's in the books. There's so many bad language into those books, and the books, the gender queer that said they're showing a boy giving affiliations to a man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a big image in the books. The books Fun Homes. It shows I think it's two women. One is eating the private parts of the other one. It's in school. Then you can see the image. They're really eating the private part. And then there's many other stuff in that book. So all these books is about sexual deviance. There is a story behind it, but still, and my gosh, there's so many. The books, it's perfectly normal. But that book shows people having sexual intercourse together. There is pictures of nude men, nude boys, nude women, nude girls. There is, then if you start to read it, the reading is almost even worse than the image, because they actually define the pleasures of sexual intercourse. They explain what is the orgasm, having an orgasm, and they explain in details the sexual intercourse, what happened, the penetrations and the movement in and all. They explain all this in the books for kids. It's not necessary to go to it's not so necessary for them to go that deep into that. The kids doesn't need to know this. And the book Sex is a Funny Wars. It's all about that. You can see the pictures of an anus and vaginas. They talk about masturbations, clitoris, and all this stuff. And oh my gosh, there is even the bluest eyes. That book is horrible. That book is completely illegal in school. Actually, that book speaks about the fathers having sex with his daughters, but explain it in the views of the pedophiles. So you read it as you cannot even read it. Actually, this is horrible. This is so anyway. So the father is explaining his pleasures of doing this to his daughter, and they have this in school, right? And it's so many, so many books. Like, so now it's not like one thing's in the books that I took, say, here we go, the entire book is bad. But even if it was the case,
parents should be able to say, even if it was one page, I get to decide if this is over the line.
Yeah. So, I'm going to watch the movie with are we going to watch the movie with our kids? We have like a freaking 2 minutes sex scenes, but in full display. No, we're not going to even watch the movie if there is this. You know what I mean? But it's just even if the scenes happen one time in the book is still there, what's the point of having the scene there? So it's just, but it's not the case. It's happened multiple times in the book. It's like George, the book George. He goes to surgery, right? But he's preparing. Is that George or Rick? Well, the other boy, actually, that's the other boy. He's preparing for surgery. He's talking about that one time with the doctor. About the surgeries and the effect of testosterone, that there is no side effect to it. That's what they said. That's not the truth. So yeah, so it's not disproportional. Mm-hmm. And and one thing I want to say to especially the survivors of the trans ideology, because it's sad to see sometimes you have people in the 20s that are talking about their experience and they did the transitions, let's say, and they say, I should have done something else. They always put this on default. It's the same symptom than someone who has been abused. They have to stop to say, I should have done something else. Because what happened is not because of them. They've been abused, they've been groomed to believe that what happened to them is their fault. It's the same thing as someone who's sexually abused. When they're saying that, I should have not done this, no, this was done to you. We have allowed this as a society to be done to you, in a way. So this is, that person has been abused. It's not her or his fault. And that's something that's going to have to be in the head of a lot of people. I see a lot of interview with people with the transitions, and they always put this on their fault. It's not their fault. Gosh, it's a grooming. They've been groomed to believe something that is false. It's an abuse. It's a sexual abuse, actually. I mean, getting your breast cut, it's for me, I consider this is sexual abuse.
Even without the transition. I mean, just hijacking a kid's brain to be putting these thoughts. I remember as an adult seeing scenes in a movie that, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't watch the movie specifically for those scenes. And there's scenes that I can't get out of my head. And I wish I never saw them. They're just so disturbing. And to think that people would actually do those things, to me, disturbs me a great deal, to the point where I wish I could eliminate that from my brain. And here we are putting these things in kids because everybody's line is different. That shouldn't bother you. Why does it bother you? Some people find pleasure from those things, like these fetishes that people have. And then it's abusing them it's abusing their minds. I can't explain it any other way. That's without even going into hormone therapy and transitioning, right? And surgeries.
Yeah, they all form of abuse. They actually a lot of effect to children to see sexually explicit material. There is a lot of consequence to see it, just to see it.
Yeah.
Can mess them up. So
to have it described to you, not even just to see it, to have it described to you, right?
Yeah, and then make it normal. Make it normal. It's like, the teacher said it's normal, so I just got something that traumatized me, but the teacher told me it's normal, so it's my fault.
Yeah.
I should not feel that way. Everything is correct, right? This is like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
It's crazy what they do to those children, those people.
I've seen a lot of, I haven't seen a lot, but I have seen the transition videos, the detransition videos, I should say. I feel really bad for the people who have gone through this. Like, this is the craziest thing. They just lifelong consequences. Let's just put it that way. The more this is, there's going to be a price. There's going to be a tipping point where people are where the narrative is going to be changing. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are going to pay the price until that happens. But us, let's say as parents, even people might say they're privileged or whatnot. Use that privilege, use that voice that you have, use that knowledge that you have to stand up and to speak on behalf, for the kids. Yeah. If these guys come and tell you, "Oh, you're too privileged, you can't say that," no, I can't say that because I am privileged, and I will use my privilege to help others, not to just glorify myself, but to speak up for kids because I can. All right, Pierre. Where can people find more about you?
And it is actually our duty to report abuse as Canadian citizens. It is our duty. If we have any doubt that there is abuse happened to our children, we have the duty to report it. Even legally, we have the duty if we have any doubt. So what we do is right. We have doubt. It's more than a doubt. We have the proof that things happen, that they are sexually abusing children. So we are reported it. So that's right. We are within the law, actually, by doing this.
That's right.
Yeah. So the teacher, just don't forget your duty to report abuse. They are mandatory, there's a word for that. They are mandatory reporters, actually, teachers. So this is a very important thing. Teachers have a very important roles because they are the only one, because they are kids that are abused at home too, right? I think approximately 50% of the abuse happen in the household. Not everything happens in school. So, but before the teacher, they were there, they were able to see the symptoms, what's going on with the kids, right? So they were able to say, okay, I think something wrong with these kids at home. Mm-hmm. Because they're speaking about stuff that no kid should speak about. But now they're teaching this stuff to children. Every kid speak about that. How they can make the difference between a child who's abused or a child who's just reading a book in school. They can't. They're not able to do so there's so many things like that is wrong with the showing sexual explicit material to children. So teachers are there to protect children as well. And actually, it's a big part of their job. That's why they are mandatory reporters.
That's right.
Because when things happen, there is a lot of people, a lot of parents. Some of the parents who are pushing this may be abuser as well. You know what I mean? Mm. Because it's perfect for them, right? No one can see not all parents. It can be an uncle or grandpa or whatever, right? But there's other people that are pushing this that are very not well intent. So go to hell them to do what they do. Mm. Yeah. So that was my last thing.
That's right. Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for being on this podcast. Thanks again for your work. Where can people find you? Are you active on the websites that we're going to be providing as links?
I'm on Facebook, Twitter.
Facebook, Twitter. Do you have an Instagram or Twitter handle?
No, I don't go on Instagram too much, but just Twitter and Facebook. Just put my name. I have a Canadian flag in the back of me on my picture, my profile picture. So yes, Pierre Barns. Go on Facebook, on Twitter. You're gonna see a lot of the stuff that I put. I can't believe they didn't even block me on Facebook, on Twitter. Mm-hmm. But for what I put, but I'm very, I try to stay polite on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
Pierre_Barns. Right?
Excellent.
Pierre_, okay. Yeah,
I'm going to be linking your social media as well.
That's good. And parents, if there is any parents or teacher, okay, or even trustee that want to know which book they have in school, just tell me. I'll find it for you.
Yeah.
I will do it. I like to do stuff for people who are doing something about it. That's why I went out across the country to do those reviews. Because when somebody asks me, Pierre, can you give me the list of books, or can you give me that information? I know they're going to do something about it. So yes, I will work a couple hours for them and just give it to them. I know they will. They will do something. So and I got a lot of information, man. It's crazy.
I do encourage all the parents to reach out to you. I know I learned a lot from you and from the website as well. I can't say I like seeing this stuff. It's always very disgusting, but it is what it is, and somebody's got to do it, and your eyes will bleed at the end of the day after you read. But thank you so much for putting in the time and the effort to consolidate this information. Cristina, thank you once again for joining me on another podcast. Pierre, it's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to connecting with both of you and see where this takes us. Thank you once again.
Thanks to you. Okay.
Thank you once again to all the viewers and all the listeners for sticking around. There's going to be links, like I said, in the bottom of this episode for you to check out. And until next time, take it easy. Bye.
You're good. Bye-bye.
All right, guys.